My goal with this video is to get across the concept of why backward walking and tibialis raises are the opening steps of almost all my programs. It's because that's Mother Nature's beginning of how the body functions. When you walk, that's the first muscle under load. As you go harder, you may need backward to heal. So when I'm at ATGHQ, the first thing I do is I start on here on the resisted treadmill. If I'm not at HQ, I actually just start in with the 0 tibialis raise. When I'm here, I get pumped there, and then I come right over here to the seated tibialis machine, and now I can rep to failure. So I hope, and please let me know in the comments, but I'm trying to get across on a common sense level of why those are the opening steps of almost all my programs, no matter what we're trying to heal above. So please let me know if there's any difficulty you have in applying it. Let me know that as well, and let's get those in. I think those are foundational exercises for you to help yourself and anyone else. So I've made literally thousands of videos on these two topics, trying to make it common knowledge how you can use those steps. I use the backward to reverse my way off painkillers for my knees. Then adding in the tibialis added another level of bulletproofing. I've turned that into being able to just go down now into more advanced knee exercises for bulletproofing, such as the full range of motion split squat. So the idea is to use these two steps to then enhance how protected we can make the body above it. But I wanted to get it down to this common sense level to see, like, let's say you're going downhill hiking. We have thousands of success stories of helping people go from activities they couldn't do to what they can now do. We're at 2,406 of these specific success stories. So take someone who can't go downhill. Well, it's a math equation of how big of steps are you taking? How steep is it? And then how much ability do you have here? And then how much ability do you have in the knee? So there's ways you can do this with no equipment. You can start walking backward. You can start with the 25 tibialis raises. That's no joke. Standing farther from the wall makes it more difficult, just as a bigger step downhill would be more difficult. We'll go ahead and take a look at that. So a bigger step downhill, a longer stance here, makes it tougher on this muscle. And just to recap, it's the tibialis anterior. So anterior means front, so it's a muscle on the front of the lower leg. And tibia is your shin bone, so it's the muscle of the shin bone on the front of the leg. It starts here under the knee, wraps around to the inside of the foot. Stand closer, gets easier, just as if you were going downhill, or if you did a softer jump, it would be easier, and then a harder jump would be a lot more force into that muscle. So it's just common sense that if we build everything above it, but then we don't strength train there, well, now we're deviating from the intended balance and design of the body. So it's not magical, it's measurable ability in that muscle, plus measurable ability of how capable we are backward. So yes, some of the success stories can seem like miraculous. Oh my gosh, people who've had pain for years, it vanished. But it's really just a math equation of how much ability do we have in those two motions. And that we're just talking about foundational activities such as being able to walk, being able to hike, go downhill, being able to play sports and stop or go into a jump. So this is how I like to apply it when I'm at HQ, because I walk in, I get on the backward treadmill, come over here, I can load this thing as much as I want. This is for sale at Sorinex.com. I worked with them on this idea, and there's been lots of great tibialis machines. Nothing yet where it's set up like this with a seat so that in a commercial gym, you could just walk in, see it, sit down. And I think that's part of the reason it hasn't caught on. Like a seated calf machine is super common in hundreds of thousands of gyms, but then seated tibialis machines aren't. And then same with the backward, but not relating to gyms. This is more like you live in Minnesota and you want to do backward sledding, but it's snowing outside. So gyms, I think, should have turf and sleds, but this has variable resistance. You can have it at home, it folds right out. And like this, I'm going as hard as I can. It's fundamentally gentler on the knee because the weight, the resistance is not bearing down on you. The resistance is coming from the ground. You're even getting a fundamental foot exercise. Notice how you naturally are pushing through the foot. So this is the solution for that purpose. You could use at your gym a treadmill that's not turned on, but for someone from home, it makes no sense to be buying a brand new treadmill for thousands of dollars to then not even use the electricity, nor does it have variable resistance. So, and with this, we have people come visit here in their 70s and use this because they can hold on. You can start at any level and gradually build up ability. And then notice the rhythm you can get from this. So it's gentle, and you're able to resist yourself and get stronger. And because the rhythm, you're able to get circulation through the roof. So you're able to get protection from the strengthening. You're able to get cardio, which can be tougher to get when you have a knee problem. And you're able to get healing at the same time. I don't know anything that works on that level of strength, cardio, and healing all at the same time, but it's common sense. We pursue forward activities too hard. Backward, which the backward walking plus the tibialis raise, that's all that's happening. So I know I'm just beating this point home, but I hope you can see that no matter what studies do support this for knee pain, for helping elderly prevent falling down the stairs, well, none of that went into the creation of this system. Just common sense. I want to be able to teach everything on the order of common sense. So I'm going to keep teaching these two concepts, no matter how many thousands of videos it takes. Now, let's go to my mom's house. Let's see how she applies these two concepts. And then we're going to come back here with a WWE wrestler who I've never trained before and see how easy it is and what he likes, what can get him, someone who's super muscular, into these same exercises. Welcome to Mama's house. This is how she does it. She's got the Tank M1. She likes to go backward first. Go ahead, Mama.
Okay.
She's going to go a certain distance. We'll follow her. And then she ends up pushing it back to the start. She also, sometimes her and I will chat on the phone. And I notice you come out here and you walk backward.
Yeah.
So how much would you say you do sledding backward versus just walking backward?
Mainly sledding backwards.
Mainly sledding. How often?
Every day.
Okay, every day.
Pretty much every day. Sometimes I skip a day.
And then what program are you doing right now?
Right now, because I sit all the time,
Yeah.
I'm getting in some of that Backability Zero program.
Backability. We still go backward. We still do the tib raise because those are just the foundations of any program. Then it's really about opening up all the hip and back muscles that go to the spine. Particularly for someone who sits, it's really ideal. It's really like a hip and back program. And you just kind of snack it through the day?
I do kind of snack it, yeah.
I think that's super cool.
Which means that I might do sledding in the morning, and then maybe after lunch, I'll go and do the first half of the Backability exercises.
Yep.
And then maybe after dinner, I'll do the next half of them.
Awesome. Okay, so she goes to here, and let's see how she does this.
I basically go until I get a burn.
Okay. Oh, I see. Cool. Then she keeps going forward. So forward sledding is fantastic. The tech on this is that when you go backward, even if you're someone who has knee pain, when you go backward, you shift the muscles to work as if you were someone who didn't have knee pain. So then when you do go forward, that normally the muscles might not work right, now they actually work right. So by going enough backward, all of a sudden forward sledding becomes another knee exercise. It starts prepping you in an athletic position. So if forward sledding doesn't feel great, you get enough ability backward, and then the forward actually starts to become a strengthening exercise for the knee rather than against it.
Exactly.
Oh, and then you go backward more like this.
Yeah.
This is awesome. Tank sleds are really cool because they use internal resistance. What is this, just weight it down a little bit?
It's just weighted down.
Yeah.
It's not even necessary.
This is more like the home model. They make a bigger model. It uses, I believe it's a sort of magnetic resistance inside. So you don't have to change a bunch of weights on and off like a normal sled on turf.
Yeah,
Mama works inside.
Right here.
Yep.
You got your neutral.
Oh, I see.
First,
Cool.
I use the number 2. There's a number 3, which is harder.
I see. And yeah, you want to find a level that slows you down. You don't want it to be choppy and falling back. The whole way this works is by being smooth. I love going into the gym and getting on the backward treadmill. You saw my routine. For for mom, she works inside at a desk all day. So you kind of like getting out here and like getting a sweat and
I do.
yeah.
Normally I take my glasses off and I just absorb the sun.
Yep.
It's good for the eyes. Vitamin D.
Andrew Huberman, look, she's doing it. We're doing it. Then meanwhile, think about our backward treadmill. Our equipment manufacturing guys, super close family friends of ours, they're in Minnesota. So even if they wanted to do this, they could only do this a few months out of the year.
Yeah.
It's snowing. So there's no right or wrong. Metal sleds are awesome for athletes on turf. It feels really cool. The backward treadmills seem to be the best for just straight rehab and for doing it from home, getting that effect from home. And then tank sleds are great for more generalized strengthening. You could have, like, different people could work without having to put a bunch of weight on and off. And if you can get outside, this is really convenient on the street, whereas a metal sled on the street can be super loud for the neighbors, super annoying. So they're all fantastic in their own ways. And to finish out, we did cover last week, so I'll just put it on the screen here. Mama does about half the wall tibialis raise, just 0. She can just go do that really quick. But she also likes to use the tib bar. It gets a nice stretch. So the combination of those has worked really well for her. This keeps her legs powered up, and she's still got mobility, sprinting ability, the kind of things that I want to have as I keep getting older. So
You want me to go sprint now?
even after this,
Yeah.
well, I'll push this back. I'll drag this back. I guess she's gonna show us what she's got. Forrest, see if you can keep up with her. There she goes.
Can't catch me. All the way.
So even for me, with their home model, resistance cranked up, if you've got a long stretch to use,
Check out his face.
you can get a world-class healing workout. Great job, Torque. We'll put on screen our discount code. I forget it at the time.
That's good, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Woo. See you back at HQ. Welcome back to HQ. Nice enough for Brian to come and give me this workout. If it doesn't work for his knees, apparently I have to wrestle him after. So this shit we better get some results. No, but seriously, I mean, the goal here, like for you, you have such an intense job. The goal here is to get that circulation and strengthening at the same time. So that's the first thing we're really trying to see. You feel like you're getting that?
Yeah, I can feel the burn for sure.
Awesome. That's what we want. And from a gym setting, you might have to ask the gym owner, but you don't want to turn the treadmill on. You want to actually have that resistance and spin it backward. And if you just look here at a good view of his feet, it's Mother Nature. If you try to spin that thing against resistance, you're pushing through the feet. You're in every step that position where your knee is actually loaded, but because the weight's not coming this way, the resistance is from the ground up. You don't have the same stress on your knee, so you can recover faster. You can do it more often. You could do it before a match. You could do it after a match. You could do it the next day. So this is our foundation. I'm going to be taking him through the whole knee ability series, but I really wanted to look at this, compare it to like how does my mom apply this? How can anyone apply this? So I'm glad we got this first step in, so I'm safe so far.
Yeah,
and now we'll go to the next step. I think he's got a good burn there. He's been going like 5 to 10 minutes. So gradually come off there, and we're going to head right to the seated tib. Nice. Nice little pump. Yeah, sweet. Yeah, and there's a lot of ways to get a pump. It definitely is different when you actually have to move the body backward. It's a different shift in how the knee works. It's different for actually loading in here, and you're pushing through your foot. So if you're getting a pump in the leg, let's say on a leg extension, but your foot is not pushing, it's not the same exercise.
No tension at all on the...
Right, we actually want that. We actually want that tension through the tendon, not to mention the foot strength itself. So let's see if this is instinctive, kind of how to get into it.
Both or individually?
Yeah, because it's unilateral, you can train both to failure at the exact same time. That's it. So that's got some grip there for the heel. You can wedge the feet in, and then you're gonna flex up Nice. And then you'll notice if you sit back a bit more, you'll feel more of a stretch at the bottom. So you can find where it feels good. So now we've got a unilateral exercise. So we're able to train one side at a time. We're training this first line of defense up to the knee. Because when you have, let's say, big landings or stomps or things like that, this is actually your first zone of protection before it gets into the knee. So it's that simple. When people really understand this concept, the better you are in those two positions, everything up gets easier. It's not that those two positions are magical. It's just that they're the first two positions to protect the knee. Hit and failure?
Yeah.
Okay, keep going. How many gyms do you think you've been to in your life?
Oh my God.
1,000? 500?
Definitely in the hundreds for sure.
Definitely in the hundreds. Do you think this should be in gyms?
Yeah, this is pretty rad. And I've done a couple tibia stuff. Well, this was significantly harder though.
How many of those gyms had seated calf machines?
Oh, almost all of them.
How many had something like this?
No.
So again, it's just kind of common sense. All right, give me one more. Come on. You got that muscle mass up here. I know you've done a drop set before. Now we're doing a drop set for your first line of defense. You can't be too strong here. We get too weak here, proportionate to the rest. Good job. Take a break. So just like that, you could be sipping a pre-workout, going backward, and then going here. It's not that this replaces everything that makes you great at what you do. It's that it is common sense. It is from the ground up. You can't be too strong from the ground up. But the gym scene is going to need some solutions because, like for you, do you do the tibialis training much? It's kind of boring, right?
Whenever there is one, I do use it then. As you just asked me about how many gyms have one. Most of them don't.
Like
so then I don't.
1% maybe.
I have like, I used to makeshift it where I'd lean back on a hamstring curl.
Oh yeah?
And then I would raise my toes. And that could, obviously too, like, you're making use of something that's not supposed to do that. So it does work.
Yeah.
You don't get the same pull and stretch, you know, because it starts to roll off your toes.
Yeah.
But no, like I said, I have trained it, but obviously is it a common thing? No.
Yeah.
And again, more so because it's not convenient where it's like, oh, there's something to actually train them.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the only purpose of this. It's not an invention. It's just trying to supply like a common sense solution. And I've noticed like I've had the single leg ones, but it's so tedious. You got to do one leg, then do so with this I can get both legs.
Sure.
I can lean back if I want more of a stretch. I can lean forward if I want more here. I can load it exactly. So like we try for basketball, we try to be like the strongest MFers on earth, pound for pound here. Because why not? It just makes everything easier. So you can create like superhuman protection compared to the normal fitness industry, and it starts with those two steps.
Makes sense too, because I know a lot of people will say like, oh, when you have like really bad patellar tendonitis, like, oh, if you strengthen this and work on this, it helps relieve a lot of it too. And I'm like, yeah, because it connects and runs right into the knee. So
yeah, and when you go backward, you have a pump anyways. You need to take a break, so sit down and then work here. Keeps it super simple. I'll also teach you the zero version because it does work when you travel until places have one.
Is that the one where you lean against the wall?
Have you done that one?
Yes. You know, because I've seen you do it too. Then a bodybuilder in Canada, Antoine, who's got ginormous calves, he's like, oh, do you ever train the tibia this much? And I go, here and there. And he goes, and he just does those a lot too.
Oh, sweet. He just does the wall version. Yeah, some of our highest jumpers just do the wall version. I would say, I don't know, I kind of like the stretch. The load.
For sure.
Like, so,
because it does work too and it fatigues it.
Yeah.
But when I was on there, and you can feel like such a big stretch and the cranking, and it makes you, you know, the longer the stretch and the harder the contraction you get out of it, so it feels like you're doing it, you know, more as opposed to the wall. Yeah. It works too, but it almost feels like you're doing like little like cheat reps almost. Like.
Yeah. As you get stronger, you can stand farther, you kind of get more of a stretch. Yeah. But yeah, so I just keep it simple when I travel. Sure, I just do the wall, just do 25. It keeps it in. But when I'm here every morning, and then you get to where you don't get like, you adapt to it, you won't get sore. So every morning I just hit the backward treadmill, hit this to failure, and then I go on with my workout. So that's what we're going to do. Thank you for watching and spreading around these unusual exercises. Thanks to those of you who now do our coaching and programs, and some of you now learning that in order to coach others through ATG for Coaches. You can look if you want to see if there's a coach near you at map.atgforcoaches.com. And thanks to those of you supporting our equipment, whether it's stuff that I make myself or stuff like this seated tib that's now out with Sorinex. We are super grateful for all the support. See you next time.